welcome to Detroit in Black and White. This our Wednesday edition. I'm Adolph Mongo. Hello, Jim Nardone.
Good evening.
What's happening?
Not very much. How are you?
How was
How's
the
everybody?
big sky? How was Montana?
Montana was great. I love to live there, but it costs about $1 million for a 700 square foot house out there. So
That's crazy as a fuck, you know. But anyway,
it's gone to the rich. There's rich people out there, that Jackson, Wyoming, or the
yeah,
Jackson.
I know. Yeah, as always, the rich people always do some shit. They go to Maui and move the natives out of there and shit. And then I don't believe in conspiracy, but when they burned down all the shit in Maui, uh, Oprah and other celebrities, their places never got touched. So you know.
But you don't believe in conspiracy, so why would you bring it up? And by the way,
Because
yes,
I believe that I'm believing in it now. But anyway, okay, Vanessa, what's up?
hey. Welcome to Detroit Black and White. Hey, Adolph. Hey, Jim. Hey, fam. Good evening. If you are watching the greatest show on these YouTube streets, you already know what we want you to do. Like, subscribe, share. To subscribe is free. You can catch us on all social media platforms. If you want to participate, guess what? You can make a comment in the comment section, or when Lady T, the backbone of Detroit Black and White, put the link up, guess what? You can, yes, there's that link. You can use that link and come on into the room. Good evening, Kenneth, Kenneth Reed, Janet Overall. I don't know if Mr. Powell is here yet, but Edward Alt, Dewayla Boyce. What's up, D-Love? Welcome to Detroit in Black and White.
Well, you know what? Several weeks ago, the young folks decided to go downtown en masse, and the new mayor and her people treated them like they had all the power in the world. Met with them, said we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. They empowered them. And guess what? These assholes came back down here the past weekend, and they did the same stuff, only this time a 14-year-old got shot in the chest. Thankfully, he didn't die. And the city officials are trying to figure out, what can we do? You know what they can do? This is what they can do. This is me. 1976, the BKs, the gang, and the Earl Flynns, a gang, they went downtown. They stopped a concert. The Average White Band in Cobo jumped on the stage, stopped them. They wreaked havoc downtown. They raped some girls downtown. The mayor, Coleman Young, at the time, was out of town. He flew back and he proclaimed, I got the baddest damn gang in town. And that's the police, who wear blue uniforms with silver badges. And he said, we got 3,000 assholes that we got to kick their ass. And they had laid off 1,000 cops at the time. They called 500 of them back, and he kicked ass. Now he said most of these kids, they're good kids.
I'm sorry.
He said they follow us.
Sorry.
He said, but they had gangs at the time, and if we fast forward to today, we don't have grandkids that's Earl Flynn's or BKs or whatever. I'm not saying we don't have some gangs here in Detroit, but it's no generational gang that go back to the 70s. We gave these kids some leverage, and I'm talking about the 313 mayor, who gave them leverage and said, we're gonna have some midnight basketball and shit. We need more than some midnight basketball because everybody don't play basketball. And we do need to have something for these young folks. But put that out the way. You need to enforce the damn curfew, and you need to enforce it. You need to take the we got a few people we need to take off the streets, and we need to kick them in the ass. That there's no question about it. And then we need to start looking at what can we do. Somebody told me we need to have a teen summit. I like that, but who are you going to invite? Because once you say you're going to have a summit, you can't have 10,000 people sitting at a summit, or 1,000 or 500. I'm just saying we don't have movie theaters. We got stuff that kids at this point, they would, if we had a movie theaters downtown like we used to have. General Motors got rid of it at the Renaissance Center. They might have been watching the Michael Jackson movie. I don't know. Some of them, but they got to have something. But no excuse for them to come down. I was down there on Saturday. People was eating dinner outside and stuff, and they was playing tag with the police. They was running. There's 2 cops here. There's 10, 12, 20 kids. Kick them in the ass. 313 Mayor, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I'm going to weigh in. I know Jim has a lot to say about this, but I will say this. First of all, I speak for myself. This is my opinion. These teen takeovers are taking place all over the country.
But it's here in Detroit. I don't give a fuck about what's happening in all over the country. It's about what is the people in Detroit that's in control, that run the city gonna do. I don't care if it's in Tampa, Florida. I don't care if it's in Texas. I don't care. It is in Detroit. What are you gonna do? How you gonna deal with it? If you say we don't have the police, we got the Wayne County Sheriff, we got the state police, we got surrounding suburban cops that can come in here and help you.
So let me say this, sir. I didn't finish my statement. You cut me off, and I get you're very passionate about this subject. I get it. But the point that I'm making is this. It's happening all over. I spoke with someone who lives in Atlanta, and I said, listen, I know you guys have this going on there in Atlanta. What are you guys doing? You know what he told me? He said, the police don't play. He said they have a crackdown. There's heavy police presence downtown. And they've told these young folks, you come down here and you act a fool, guess what? You're getting locked up. I said before on this show that you cannot, I'm an old school. I was raised by my parents, my grandparents, so I'm old school. I don't believe that there's any if I'm feeding you, putting lights, making sure the lights are on, we have food, and you don't even have an opinion that matters as far as I'm concerned. You're going to do what I tell you to do. As the mayor, she should stand strong by herself and say, this is not going to be tolerated. There are consequences. Period. Point.
She's staying with 30 people. She's staying with 30 fucking people every fucking time. And like she gotta have a fucking pillow. You see the little kids in the airport, they got a pillow or they got a teddy bear.
I don't have a problem with her having her support. I personally,
yes, I do. I do have a problem. When is she gonna be by herself? When is she gonna be by herself?
I do not. I do think
I do have a problem.
I know. I do think that she has to send a very strong message, and not just have a message. You got to back that. You got to back it up. Okay. It's not like it's a secret that these things are taking place. They put it on social media. It's not as if the police can't find out that this is what they're doing. I was told today that the police have and I was told this by a prosecutor, from what they understand, that the police are asked the young person, well, this is a curfew, why are you still out here? And their position is, well, my mama's on her way to pick me up, so they just let them be. That should
Well,
not
that's some bullshit.
enforced. It has to be enforced. Period. The end. That's my opinion.
Well, but you know what? And let's get back to, you don't have a problem with 35 people standing behind the mayor. Be strong. You don't need a blanket. You don't need a blanket. You don't need a pillow. You don't need that. You don't need the support. You don't need a service dog. You need to stand strong. It ain't standing strong. We gotta do midnight basketball. Fuck, how many of those kids that came down here playing midnight fucking basketball? 12 o'clock, they should be at the fucking home, at home. And then start kicking the parents' ass, but they can't take care of their kids. Then you gotta pay the consequences. I don't understand it, and I'm not advocating the police to start beating up on kids and stuff, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, Time Magazine did a whole article on Detroit and how Coleman Young dealt with the gangs, and in one part of the story, the cops. 3 cops came up on several kids after curfew, and they said, "What are you doing out?" They said, "Oh, we were skating." And one of the cops said, "Yeah, you might as well skate your ass into to the jail, because that's where they took them." And that's how you got to deal with some of these kids. What a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. They doing out late at night. They running around. You had to see them. I saw them, and I saw them. It was ridiculous. And they was taunting the police. Come get us. Come get us. That's what got me. They was taunting the police.
Jim, I want to ask you this. What do you feel? How do you feel? Do you think the fact that young people can catch the bus for free any day of the week at any time, that can transport them from wherever they are to downtown Detroit, do you think that was a contributing factor? And you weigh in on this. How do you feel about this?
Well, I don't have a problem with that at all. And I've defended these young people that are not out there committing crimes. So we have to distinguish the criminals, the good guys, from the bad guys, because kids got because there's kids that, I'm sorry, what?
I hate when cops say that, the good guys and the bad guys. Go ahead.
Well, but there are people out there are young people that are coming to the gathering, that when the police say, if you're not out of here in 3 minutes, you're going with me, or I'm calling your parents, or whatever. And those kids will scatter, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I've defended them. I want to read a couple of comments, and then if I could, I'll get into my position, if that's okay. Absolutely. I'll read comments and we'll take a break, and then I'll get into my position. I'll try and be short. Good evening, Derek Henry. Good to see you. Miss Sheila, 16 in chat, to share real talk. The culture is the problem. Eric Brown, and it needs fixing. A lot of residents agree with Mr. Mongo. The biggest mistake the mayor made was meeting with those kids without any parents at that performative act. Good evening, Tamari. Good to see you, Tamari Kemet. We missed you. A lot of these young folks don't fear being locked up. Kenneth Reed. Stephanie Jackson says the parents are responsible. Hi, Jill Sheridan down there in sunny Florida. Good to see you. Stephanie said, good evening. I hate that these events are happening, Kenneth. Yeah, we do too, Kenneth. And I'm probably going to, probably tickle a few nerves out there today, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'm blown away that it costs so much to live in Wyoming, Kenneth. The billionaires in Jackson are pushing out the millionaires. They have a billionaires row out there. Janet, yes. Hi, Edward. Good to see you. Dwayla. Hey, Dwayla. First in. So should we take a break, Adolph, and then?
Yeah, we take a break and we'll come back, and we'll go back to you, Jim, and then we continue this conversation. Detroit in black and white.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit in black and white. Our Wednesday evening edition. You have Adolph Mongo, Jim Nardone, and myself, Vanessa Moss. Okay, Jim, when we went to break, you were addressing our family members, and then you were going to make your comment.
Yeah, and I want to talk about 3 little incidents that happened. Little incidents. I won't call them little. They are major incidents. But there was an interview with the police chief, and he said they'll be held accountable. And the parents too, the parents and the kids would be held accountable. And my first question when I saw that, before I found out what I did, was, will they be prosecuted as adults? And we already know the answer to that is no, even though at 16 or 17, they can be charged as adults. What kind of penalty will they be facing? As we know that attempted homicide, attempted murder, assault with intent to commit great bodily harm, less than murder, is probably I'm guessing up to 20 years, something like that. One has been charged as a juvenile in a press release from the prosecutor Worthy's office. The bond was set in the juvenile by the juvenile, what are they called? Referee, $4,000, 10%, $400 cash bond. And they were charged with possession of a firearm, the 16-year-old. And what's really interesting about that is he was ordered in his bond requirements not to be in possession of any firearms or illegal substances. So first of all, I want our friends out here to think about a 16-year-old and a judge, a referee in this case, because he's not a defendant, he's a respondent in juvenile court. He's considered a respondent.
Yeah. And
the referee told him that he should not be in possession of firearms or any illegal substances. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm going to use freaking because I'm trying to be decent here. I'm going to take it to 2 quick other incidents, and we'll come back to this. Earlier this week, outside of Panera Bread in Orion Township, a 25-year-old Ann Arbor man shot a woman in the hip. She was leaving Old Navy with her 8-year-old son. He shot her in the hip and took her car, got in a chase. This suspect on probation from Washtenaw County for duct taping, hog tying, and attempting to suffocate and sexually assault a woman in Washtenaw County. Ellie Savitt is the Washtenaw County prosecutor who the Democrats have propped up to be their attorney general. So this happened a year and a half ago, and he's given 2 years probation. He's clearly still in his probation. I guess he's acting out. He decided to shoot this lady in the hip and take her car. Tyler Brown, 46, in Boston on May 11th, started shooting wildly in downtown, or somewhere in the Boston area, with a rifle. His convictions go back to cocaine distribution in 2008. In 2020, Mr. Brown pled guilty to 8 criminal charges, including assault with intent to murder a police officer less than 5 years ago. So I guess the bigger question is this society? Is this just Detroit? Is this what is going on here, right? Nobody from the prosecutor's office or nobody from the police department said.
Well, you know what's happening, Jim. Who killed the people at the mosque in San Diego? Young kids. young fucking kids. Now, G Money Hollywood says, "Oh, it's great to have midnight basketball." How many fuckers are gonna play midnight basketball that's downtown? I'm sorry, G Money, and they're not many. Fuck that. You got to have more than midnight basketball. But let's get back to the real problem and the real issue. You empowered the leadership of this shit, the ones that organize it. The other people are followers. They follow. You know, you kill the head of the mob. You know, that's who you gotta get. And you know, they talk all this stuff. They put all this shit on Facebook, and everybody else follow. I'm gonna tell you, the time I got in trouble as a kid because I did it myself. I didn't follow people. Or I was with at one time, and Jim and Vanessa, we had a guy on here. His name was Frank Miles, and he passed away, unfortunately. And we were in high school, and it was 5 of us. We go downtown. We played basketball at the Constantine Recreation Center on Woodward. We won the game, but we was talking shit. And before we know it, there's 15 people or 20 people want to jump on us. We talk our way out of it, but there was a couple people with us that says, we can't, they disrespected us. There's a gas station across the street from that place now. There was a gas station, and one of the guys who was driving the car, he worked there part-time. He went across there, and a grown person gave him a gun. He came back, and he said, we're going to shoot him up. I'm like, y'all crazy than the fuck. Come on, Frank. I know Frank because his father was my little league baseball coach. Let's catch the bus. First thing they said, oh, y'all scared. I said, hell yeah, we're not going to jail. I said, Frank will be in juvenile. Rest of us will be locked up in jail for murder. And we left. And they didn't do anything. But the bottom line is, you got to have some kids that say, God, y'all got to stop this shit. Because most of those kids that's downtown are fucking followers. This is how the lead sheep, this is how they slaughter sheep and everything else. They get a lead sheep.
Let me ask you a question. Adolph, you said that you were out Saturday evening and that you were.
I didn't get out the car.
Okay.
They was all over the place. And the cops were useless because most of these kids was playing tag. They run, they do all kind of stuff in front of the cops. Cops try to run at them, and you got 5 or 8 or 9 running. They can't do anything. I'm telling you, you have to kick some ass. And I'm not saying beat on these kids, but you gotta set an example of that you're gonna be hardcore. And the mayor is not hardcore because she figures, oh, okay, we're gonna, think she can go out there and talk that talk. They're not listening to her. They don't give a fuck. Thank
you, Mr. Duckett.
Right.
Thank you,
your
Angela.
Ideal world, Jim, in your ideal world, Adolph, what
ain't no ideal world.
Okay. Besides the Mayor Sheffield saying, listen, you guys are going to have consequences. You're going to have to face consequences.
Don't say it. Show it. Don't say it. You don't say it. You
He shot
should.
him.
That means okay.
Shot
So
him
that
in
means
the
what?
freaking
So,
chest.
listen, that means that okay, we had this incident that happened this Saturday. We know that they organized this TikTok social media. Does that mean, and I'm asking this question, does that mean that when this happens again, when they try to congregate again, that you cut it off at the head? I mean, what does that look like? Is what I'm asking.
Well,
Well,
let me ask
go
you.
ahead,
Let me ask you and all our friends out there. Thanks to Mary for your comments. Like how hardcore. G Money, thank you. Stephanie, Eric, Miss Sheila. He shot him in the fucking chest. All right. When you shoot another human being in the chest, you belong locked up. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you came from. I don't care where you were born. I don't care if you came from India. I don't care if you came from Philadelphia. I don't care if you came from Indianapolis. I don't care if you came from Trenton. You belong in a cage for a few years. All right. I'm not saying there's no redemption. All right. He shot a guy in the chest. He missed his heart by 2 inches. All right. So what conversation would we be having if the kid was dead? All right. Who cares about the 14-year-old victim in this case? Who cares about the young lady that took her kid to a Old Navy to pick up a pair of school jeans and she got shot and almost bled out? Who cares about the people in Boston that can't walk down the street because a guy had access to a firearm, and we think the next firearm law is going to change everything? And you have a referee in Detroit telling a 16-year-old kid he can't be around firearms anymore. I thought it was illegal for a 16-year-old to be around firearms.
And we got a fucking mayor that thinks they identify with me, and we're gonna give you midnight basketball. Detroit basketball. Yeah, right.
Who's standing up? Who's standing up for the people that watch this show, the Detroiters that are afraid to walk out of their house at 8 o'clock at night because they might get hit by a stray bullet? Who's standing up for them? We have a congressman that gets on a plane and flies to El Salvador and Nicaragua, where the hell he flew to have a margarita with a gang member. What the hell is going on in this country? Where are we at? Why are we putting up with it?
And we got 2 Congress people in Detroit that don't do shit, and one that gets up, got 5,000 commercials every fucking day on TV talking about if you need to have some money, call my office. I'll help you get a contract somewhere. Fuck that. Wait, who gonna step up? Where's the fucking city council? We got people on the city council that they don't want to really be on city council. They want to run for another office. We got people in the city council. They're invisible. They don't come out and do nothing. Where now if the mayor was going to stand tall with people behind her, it would be city council people, a united front, not 30 motherfuckers from your departments and standing every fucking time you get a damn I got a PR moment and I got 30 people. Get all of the department heads to come and stand behind me. Mayor, stand behind, be by yourself sometimes and look strong. But if you're going to look united, get the fucking city council people standing with you because y'all run the fucking city. Not your, it's just ridiculous. They're going to run people out of the downtown if they don't get a handle. They don't get a handle on what they're doing.
See, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that
you wasn't Vanessa. You wasn't down there. If you'd have saw all the girls, boys, it didn't matter. They was doing their thing. Now, when I was young, I can run. I can get out of the way. But right now, If I was out there, I couldn't get out the way. And you know that this, and the police is standing right there. 3 police, but they didn't have enough cops that do what they need to do anyway.
Can we go to G Money's comment? Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Thank you, G Money. Teen Takeover is a national campaign. Absolutely. And I've defended the kids that are loitering repeatedly on this show. Kids do wild and off the wall things, Jim. That kid survived and it was wrong. The teen needs to go to jail, not prison. Well, that's semantics, G Money, but I'm going to tell you this. How many times I don't understand that it's okay that somebody got shot in the chest. All right. It's never okay to shoot somebody in the chest. And I think that's a little bit more than he didn't toilet paper his neighbor's house. He didn't put soap on the window next door. He didn't, get in a fight at the park after a basketball game and somebody get a bloody nose. He shot somebody in the chest. When is that acceptable? Help me. And maybe I'm the fool here. This is why we've always been strapped downtown. It's so unsafe.
Well, but somebody talking about it's about black youth are disrupting the mainstream racist society. That's bullshit. It's not. It's not. If you're gonna do some shit that's worthwhile. When I was in high school, Northland was an outdoor mall. It wasn't enclosed. And one summer, every fucking weekend, it was the white kids that wreaked havoc at the Northland Mall. Now, they wasn't hurting anybody, but this shit is not new.
Bullet don't have no race or no
right.
No,
this
no
is
age,
not. This is not new. People think this is very new, where kids are coming in mass. They only can get more people because we got social media. But back in the day, they had their social media, people calling folks, and the word got out, and people did what they used to do, or they used to ride down Woodward in their cars and stuff and do all kind of shit. This is not new. But how do you crack down? The police cracked down when it got out of fucking hand. The police came and said, enough is enough. Where is the Detroit police at? Where are they at? Where are they at?
Do you want to, Vanessa?
I'm going to say a couple of things. One, I would hate to be the parent, the sibling, the aunt, the grandparent of a child that was shot in the chest. That's very serious. It's very scary. But you also have to, there's a balance there. And all I know is this. When I'm in court every day, the picture is very different when you get discovery and you see actually what occurred as opposed to what the newspaper put out or what you see on the news. All I'm saying is there has to be some kind of balance. I agree with you. I think all of us agree that something has to be done and that it comes from the top. The top has to show leadership, and allowing kids to think that they have the capability and the power to negotiate. I think that is totally and utterly ridiculous.
There's no question. Somebody just said, Les Moore said, you can't mass arrest. Fuck, you can mass arrest. If somebody's doing something that's illegal, that's unlawful, yes, you can. Like I said, most of these kids, they're followers. And I'm going to tell you, they're not leaders. They follow us. Somebody told them to come down. They came down, and this is what they're doing. Right. But you got to send a fucking message, and the mayor's office is not sending a message. Why don't you just dance and do your fucking 313 shit? That's what she undone when she empowered them. When she fucking empowered them. when they was negotiating with them. Why would you? And I said, why are they meet? Now, I don't have a problem with the city wanting to meet with some of them, but not the mayor, not the fourth in charge, not the fifth in charge. You get the recreation director or somebody to go and do that. And you do not give them fucking leverage. You gave them leverage, and now they think, oh, we can do what the fuck we want to do. No, you can't. No, you can't. You show these kids that you can't. You got to as consequences for being out there past curfew. If they pass the curfew, what's the curfew? 10 o'clock? 11?
10 o'clock, I think, for
10 o'clock.
Yeah, people are
Start picking them up. Start picking them up. Pick them up. Take them.
The chief said they had 60 detainments the other night. So
okay, they need 160 detainments. They need them, and we asked for help during the fireworks. Ask for help on the weekend. You can get the call Ray Washington over at the sheriff department. Get the state police and ask a couple of our neighbors to send some cops. I'm telling you, if you don't have enough, but you're gonna have to you're gonna have to deal with it, because as the weather gets hot and these kids are gonna come down there, there's nothing to do for them down there. Nothing. They're not going to the restaurants. They just walking in packs. There's nothing. There's nothing for them to do. So find something for them to do.
So, Jim, you seem to be really upset that the bond was set by a referee. Let's be clear.
Yes.
The lawyer, a referee's not a judge. A referee makes a recommendation, and ultimately it can go to the judge, and the judge makes a decision. But you have to think about not only a balance, you have to think about what the policy is, and you also have to think about the fact that the prosecutors have until May 23rd to make a charging decision as to how they're going to charge this 16-year-old or 17-year-old. So those are the things that you have to think about. So I move cautiously when I see stories in the paper and I read them, I look at the news, because I see something completely differently. Again, my heart goes out to, I would hate to be the parent, relative of anybody that's shot by somebody else, especially since, and I've shared this, my 14-year-old brother was murdered in the city of Detroit. So I'm very sensitive about that, but I also understand that there has to be some kind of balance. And when we talk about leadership, leaders have to be leaders.
Send a message send a message. If I was sitting there as a damn referee, the bond would have been $100,000 cash.
And I'm just going to say this, Vanessa, if I could, in defense of my own position, I got most of my information from the Wayne County Prosecutor's website. The young man that survived the shooting, his name is Tavwan Clark, and he's the only name you're ever going to hear in this case, because they intentionally decided to charge these two young men as juveniles. One of them's already been charged. Can you get to our viewers, Vanessa, or you want me to do?
If you want me to do it, I can do it. Or you
yeah, but I just want to say that we're lucky Tavwan Clark is still alive. And what if it was your nephew or your grandson or your brother? You talk about your brother, right? Yes. Who's here to protect your grandkids? Who's here? The incestuous prosecutor.
Why is he out there that time of night? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm saying I'm looking at it, and we have people in the comments. It's like this 14-year-old hanging out downtown. Was he with his parents, or was he hanging out with this group of kids? Was he part of this teen takeover? I don't know. Those are questions that I'm asking.
The incestuous relationship, and I was in this relationship because I was a police chief. I was a police officer.
That's pretty inflammatory.
Incestuous relationship with the clergy and the prosecutor's office and the sheriff and the chief and all these people. We all know what's going on here. I don't have to tell one of our viewers exactly what's going on. They decided to charge these kids as juveniles for a reason. Please get to our viewers, Vanessa. I want them to be heard.
Okay, so Miss Sheila says she's staying with you, Mr. Jim. Eric Brown, good evening. He says, what you allow, you accept, and some. We also have G Money Hollywood. Good evening. He says, kids in suburbs are usually getting a second chance. I agree, Jim, where he was shot is not acceptable. But was he in close range, or did it just so happen to hit him in the chest? Nothing's black and white. Les Moore said, today is different. Haven't you noticed? Les also says you cannot mass arrest. Eric says, what you allow, you accept. And it appears that a whole hell of a lot of people are in acceptance of what is taking place because it is happening elsewhere in a lame ass excuse. To Mary Kimmick, good evening. She says guns are a cultural thing, phenomenon in this country, and kids exemplify the sickness of the society. Miss Sheila says we have too many cameras in 2026. Criminals, you will become slaves in jail. Pay attention. Mr. 40 Scratch says it is like Mad Max and Lord of the effing files out there. Just anarchy, flies of effing flies out there. Just anarchy, something like the old streets of England. Kenneth Powell says, salute to all, like, share the edutainment. Par Org says, Jim, you're right. They need to send them the teen shooter to Iran, or better yet, put him
they ain't sending them to they not sending nobody to Iran. It used to be you kids get in trouble. They say you go to jail or you go to the service. They don't do that anymore.
No, juvenile different.
But then you see what's happening on our national level with Justice Department say Trump and his family they don't have to they stole money from the IRS, so they don't have to get prosecuted. And people look at that shit. Look at what Whitmer gave somebody $20 million, $40 million, whatever, no bid contract, and all this other shit that a lot of these politicians are doing. And then we look at the kids and say they're out of control. Fuck, they are out of control because their parents have no control over. What do we do? Do we just let them run wild in the streets? And I'm sorry. They said we let the suburban kids get away with shit. If we could take a poll on who was down there, I bet a third or more was from the suburbs. They wasn't all Detroit kids. No, it was a mixture of all the kids. You get on the fucking internet and you got a variety of kids. But the police, it's not at the schools. I've advocated that the city need to take over the school system, and this is a perfect example. Where were the fucking superintendent, the greatest superintendent in the history of the Detroit school system? This fucker ain't nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. He ain't saying shit because he didn't send his kids to Detroit public schools. He sent his kids someplace else. It's just unreal.
Probably more engaged in the teen takeover. A few more comments. We have, let's see. 14 years of age outdoors in these times isn't a very good idea. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? We also have their parents are in the clubs. That's what Les says.
I'm 14. I never went 10 blocks away at 8 when the street lights came on. I was at home. Where are the parents? But no, that's an oxymoron now, because we know where the parents are. We got parents that let their kids up in Pontiac, fend for themselves, held them captured in their house. We got parents that buried their kids in freezers in Detroit. We got parents that's fucked up.
As far as I'm concerned, they're not parents. Those are people.
They're not parents. Well, we got a whole lot that's not fucking parents.
And then you have some that are parents who kids, just, you said some of them are just followers. Okay. So, you can't blame it all on the parents. Stephanie Jackson says, show them and their parents cut off the parents' benefits. The takeover will be shut down.
Every parent ain't on no benefits.
Immediately.
What benefits? What benefits?
Stephanie, answer that question.
What benefits?
Tamara says we need amusement parks, entrepreneur training, talent shows like the Apollo or Motown. Miss Sheila said we had to be on the porch when the street lights came on, and we had good caregivers. We also have someone talking about the prison population. Let's see what else.
And Vanessa, if I could just touch on that for a minute.
Yes. Go ahead.
You didn't like it when I said good guys and bad guys, right? And I've defended the kids that are down there because it happens. And Eric said it happens everywhere, right? It happens. We've talked about it. It happens in Woodhaven. It happens in Trent. It happens in St. Clair Shores, and happens everywhere. All right. Kids get rambunctious. They go out, they drink beer, they run. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a young man with a firearm. Somebody got shot in the chest. And you're right, G Money. Maybe there's more to the case than we know. I'll give you that. We don't always know. I'm following the news. I'm also looking at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Ain't no more.
Like they were in a hurry to charge them as juveniles.
Right. Ain't no more that we don't know. That I don't care if they got a beef and whatever. He shot him. And fourth, if it was my kid that got shot and you gave him a 400 fucking a bond, that's fucked up.
He's not even a criminal. He's a respondent right now. He's not accused of any criminal act. It's Vanessa explained to our friends out here that.
No, and you know what? If they're charged as a juvenile, if there's they won't even have a conviction. It's called an adjudication. So let's be clear. Once upon a time in the 1800s, juveniles were treated just like adults, but we've evolved. Brain science says the kids aren't mature until a certain age and those kind of things. So I think that, again, I'm standing here because I've worked over in the juvenile building, both in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne County. I spent a lot of time in juvenile court in Wayne County. And listen, there's a population of people. You take a whole lot of things in consideration when you're talking about a bond. Okay. And so when we make these comments, I'm like, look, we really don't know what they have. We really don't know all you know. And again, Jim, you said you looked at the prosecutor's website. That's from their view. And you still don't have the benefit of having the discussion.
You don't know. Okay.
Her job is to go after.
Listen, there's something has to be done. Definitely.
We don't know.
But we don't know.
We don't know. It's politics. We know it's politics. We know who's involved. Everybody, you know what? There's 70 or 80 people watching this show that know exactly what happened out there when it comes to
but they're not telling whatever. But
they know what happened. You know what happened, Vanessa.
Right.
The bottom line is
shifting.
What
Mayor? He said we keep shifting the parental responsibility to politicians. First of all, everybody doesn't have a parent. Everybody doesn't have a guardian. So, I mean, we had a case a few years ago where abdicated their duties. They didn't take care of their
But
kids.
the parents,
Like,
listen, the parents, most of these kids, the
was
parents are fucked up. They don't have a parent, but it is the responsibility of the politicians who run the city that keep people safe. That's who I'm coming after. If the police department don't have a handle on what's happening in Detroit, well, I'm telling you, and I don't believe in nothing, but I'm gonna say, God help us.
Well, let me ask you guys this: what kind of press conference would there have been if this young man ended up deceased and that bullet was 2 inches in the other direction?
Say, I'm sorry, my bad, or whatever, because you gave these assholes, you gave them leverage.
You added fuel to the fire.
Like you met with them, you met with them like they were somebody that had a lot of power.
But how do you know that those are the same kids that are are participating in these teen takeovers? I would submit that probably the kids that she met with aren't the ones that were actually involved in these teen takeovers.
Right. Well, that's why. Why would you meet with them anyway?
So
why would you meet with them anyway? Go do the 313 dance.
What is that? You keep saying that. What is that? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's out there.
What is it, Jim?
It's out there. It's the mayor when she was running, doing a little 313 dance.
Okay.
Yeah,
I usually think that I know what's happening.
Thank you, Les. Les, that's the question. Where would they be right now if that bullet was 2 inches over? Yeah. The question is really, what are they doing so it doesn't happen again? And giving a kid.
Listen, Coleman Young said, I got the baddest gang in fucking Detroit. And and at that time, the Detroit police, they thought that Coleman Young was anti-police because he ran on, let's get rid of stress and all the other shit. But when he had to, in 75, when they thought they were gonna have another riot, he put the police department and they kicked ass. And when the gangs said we run in Detroit, he went and got the police department and he kicked ass. You got to kick ass. This was a guy that didn't trust the police department until, damn, I'm gonna need the police department at this point, and I'm not taking no shit from none of these folks. I don't care who they are. And that's what you got to do. You got the police department is here for a reason, not to intimidate residents, not to beat up on folks that's not doing stuff. They got to protect the citizens of this city. And if you was down there on a Saturday and you had people eating dinner outside, coming down here to hang out, and you saw the hundreds of kids running around, knocking people down and stuff, and doing all this, wreaking havoc. And here's the police. They played tag with the police. Police run after them. They running. And some of these cops, they can't do nothing but shoot somebody in the back because they out of shape, and they look a mess.
Let's hope we don't have to shoot anybody, Ada. Thank you, Stephanie Jackson. I bet the police didn't get one phone call from a parent looking for the good kids.
No, they sure did. No.
Kenneth, thank you, Kenneth. Let's talk about paid agitators. Thank you. Salute to you, Kenneth. Powell. Go ahead, Vanessa.
So here's the deal. Adolph said earlier, he was like, The people are not going to come downtown. We have a big event that's coming up this weekend. We have the Grand Prix. It's going to bring a whole lot of people downtown. If you think for a moment that this teen takeover is going to be like it was last week or the few weeks before that, I think you're going to be sadly mistaken.
Well, why we got to, but why we got to
happen is to scare off these big money people from coming downtown. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Why we got to wait for the Grand Prix and all this shit to get it together?
Well, did Jim say earlier it's politics?
Yeah,
I believe it's politics.
You
don't think it would be front page news if they charged this kid as an adult with assault with intent to commit murder in Detroit on a Saturday night? You don't think that would embarrass the mayor, the seated mayor?
Well, the mayor gonna show up and she got 500 people standing behind her. Fuck that. I'm just telling you. You stand by yourself because the buck stops right at the fucking mayor's office and said, she gonna have to show some leadership. But like I said 6 months ago, she ain't ready for prime time, and this is where we at.
And G Money had made a comment about second chances. I'll just say his second chances. G Money, I know somebody that was convicted of homicide, and he's a fine human being. People deserve. He made a bad mistake, right? But he redeemed himself. It was his lifetime of changing and becoming a different human being, right? If you don't hold people accountable, as the chief said, he holds them accountable. If you don't hold them responsible, they're never going to learn, and they're going to end up like that guy out in Orion Township, shooting, almost killing a lady and taking her car for no good reason because 2 years ago he was convicted of hog tying a lady with duct tape and nearly suffocating her and threatening her with sexual assault. That's my point. People deserve a second chance. 2 years ago, this lady's almost dead because Washtenaw County, Ellie Savitt is a fucking punk. That's why this lady's almost dead.
And somebody say she just got in office. She was on the city council for 12 fucking years. So she ain't just got in office. Now she was the council president.
So
fuck that. She's supposed to be the fucking leader. She ain't ready for fucking prime time.
Lord
No.
So let me see
her have a press conference by her fucking self, standing there by herself. And if I was back on the newspaper when I was a journalist, I would ask her, why you need a pillow? Why you need a blanket? That's what she, you got a service dog. That's what she's using.
So let me say this. I stand to be corrected.
You ain't a leader.
Let me say this. The Grand Prix is not this weekend, but in fact, it is the Movement Festival that's this coming weekend. Again, people from all over the world is coming into town for the Movement Festival. And trust me, I just don't believe.
There ain't no trust me. They ain't got a handle on it. If these kids want to come down,
the way that we've seen the teen takeover last weekend and the week before last. First of all, it's all in the paper. It's all on the news.
Ain't nobody reading that. The teens, they're not reading it. They're not reading it.
People are raising all kinds of says about the curfew and everything else. And I told you, I talked to some
they don't care
about the police, and they're not doing their job. So
they're not gonna do it. If the kids are gonna, if I get on social media, say
the Movement Festival, yeah,
let's do it. Let's take over.
Hey, thank you, DeBragg, for your comment.
You don't have it.
DeBragg says the rich white will be protected. Wow, Jim, it's not the first nor the last kid getting shot in Detroit. Well, I'm going to say this, DeBragg. Thank you for your comment. It's not the last, but it should be the last. That's kind of my point. You know, until it affects you personally, it's just another kid that died until it's your nephew or your cousin or your mother or your sister. And
we had the Super Bowl here, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And a young lady, white girl from northern Michigan, never been to Detroit, came to Detroit. She was standing in line at a restaurant. A couple came and got in front of her. She said something, and the guy shot her, killed her, and left. The media downplayed that. The city downplayed that. They never found who did that to that young girl. You ain't never heard nothing about it. And I said, and when I talked about it, and this is when the Super Bowl was here some years ago, and I had people say, you don't need to talk about that. You know, talk about the good things that's happening. I say, can you tell that girl parents to talk about the good things that happened at the Super Bowl? We have a way in Detroit of hiding stuff. When the media like shit, they hide it. When they don't like it, they bring it out and they say, "Oh, they hiding all of Mary's weaknesses. They ain't saying shit until it really get bad." And I hope it don't get bad. I just hope it gets better. And you know, let's get better. But if she gonna come and give these people, these young folks, leverage, we in trouble. We in trouble. The mayor is different from what mayor?
Because she sat on city council for 12 years, and someone made a point.
She know politics. She know fucking politics. God damn. You know what? I'm not an elected official. I know politics. You know politics. Jim know politics. That's no excuses. Not ready for prime time. We'll be back on Friday.
Tamari, we would never cuss you out if we disagree with you, and you can cuss out us out, Tamari. No problem. We're glad to see you on the show.
Oh, I can cuss out somebody when I disagree. That's right.
We need to do better for our young people and our women because
there's no question.
Yeah, Tamara, come back. Listen. He is.
That's my cause.
Yeah, he's just.
Tamari's my cause.
Okay, don't worry about that.
Don't go anywhere, Tamara.
I'm cussing the people out.
Yeah, and
fuck everybody.
He loved you, really. That's his way of saying he loved you.
Exactly. That's what he does.
Fuck everybody. So whatever. I'll see y'all on Friday. Unless I can take another 6-7 months not to come.
No, absolutely not.
Motherfuckers don't want me here, so I understand.
As you say, this is your show. This is your show.
Right. Ain't no question. See you on Friday.
See you on Friday. Bye.